Hey, welcome back to the Joseph Graham Show. Super excited today. I met Pat Hilton, I believe either through Tony Watley or it might have been Zach Babcock about 3, 4 years ago. Been following you. He has an amazing, crazy story. He tells it way better than I do. So, Pat, let's just start. Give them a high-end overview of what you do and all the craziest things since you become the greatest or the most dangerous man in the game.
Appreciate you having me, number one. And big shout out to Zach Babcott and Tony Watley. I mean, two great dudes. And that's what this is all about. You want to be dangerous in your category. Everyone should want to be dangerous in their category. And that's the only reason why I came up with that little slogan. Because, like, for me, being a singing guitar player, way back in the day, we didn't stand a chance. Unless you had, Universal behind you and you were signed to the Geffen part of that label and you got on Saturday Night Live and you had a hit single, nobody was ever going to hear your music and you were never going to be a rock star. And it is not that way anymore. You could pick up your guitar right now, anybody with $100 guitar, get your phone out and post it to TikTok, and the next morning you could be the biggest thing on the planet. And that was never possible when I was a kid. And that was all we ever wanted, was for people to hear our music or to be impacted by our poetry. We went all these open mic nights and stuff in St. Louis. St. Louis had a really nice hub for music and culture when I was growing up. And, sadly, it's become a little bit more dangerous city, which is part of the
Yeah.
reason why I use the most dangerous man slogan a little bit. But
Nice.
how do we, in entrepreneurship, pull that out of people? Because the music industry never accepted Pat Hilton. It was the business entrepreneur, small business owner people that looked at what I was doing and they were like, he's pretty good. We should have him do this, that, and the other thing for us. Because those people were able to look at my skill set and say, hey, you're more than just a song guy. Like, you're a good video producer. You're streaming your music live. It looks and sounds really good. You could just have business people come in and do their shows and chop it up and post it on their pages for them. And
Mhm.
eventually that's what I did. I met the Cardones through making a video on Instagram, and it led to me doing all of this stuff. And if it wasn't for the advice of other people analyzing me and critiquing my skill, which can be really difficult for me or anyone else to have your shit broken down by experts,
Mhm.
because you can feel small. But listen, that's the only way you grow big muscles, is by breaking them down a little bit. They're not saying you're no good. They're showing you how to reformat and remix your style to get paid. And those
Well,
people are priceless.
no, and you just gave a big key because a lot of people that listen to this are sales professionals, entrepreneurs, people that are trying to better themselves. And I got better in sales simply because I was willing to let them critique and fix what I'm doing. So now I talk to CEOs of billion-dollar companies. I wouldn't have gotten there if I would be like, oh, you can't talk about that. So let's talk there a little bit because I think entrepreneurs and all, we want to impact the world, we want the fame, but the actual work, and I think that's why there's such a disconnect, is not there. Like we almost are too. I'm going to do it on my own. But you said if I wouldn't have had these key people that saw it in me, I wouldn't have gotten to where I was at. So did you just? How did you even get past that? Because a lot of entrepreneurs I know, business owners, salespeople, don't want to drop their guard.
That was hard for me. And good thing the man upstairs, however you want to look at it out there, the universal higher power, being, God, whatever you believe. I believe that if you're chasing things the correct way, you're doing things the right way, you're following the calling. I believe everybody's got some kind of calling, some kind of skill set, some kind of knowledge or expertise that no one else on the planet has. That's always maybe that's the hippie side of Pat, the sleeping in a van, singing on the side of the road side of Pat Hilton. But it's like, I truly believe everybody's got magic. We're not just here from some kind of anything outside of some kind of mysterious force that put us here. We're too advanced. But we
Mhm.
still don't understand how our bodies work. We're shooting rockets up in the moon, towards the moon, and then catching them on the way down, and we still don't know basic biology like we should.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
Everyone's got something, and the internet and social media has become the record label and the channel and the broadcast booth for
mhm.
anyone who's got talent in the world. And it now takes, okay, well, am I willing to pull the trigger and go for it? And when you really look back at the people who made it and the people that made it big, it's they were willing to go harder than anybody else. They were willing to pack
Hmm.
up and move away from home and audition in Los Angeles or audition in San Diego or do whatever they needed to do to meet the right people to get the deal to get in front of the audience. And so
Yeah.
I think there's a two-edged sword there. I think it's almost so easy sometimes that people are like, "Oh, wait. The
Hmm.
internet's not going anywhere. The opportunity's not going anywhere." Where back in the day it was like, "I'm willing to die to meet the right person.
Yeah.
I'll go play any dump bucket of trash venue and
Hmm.
stage to figure out how to get to that right person." And if I
Yeah.
wouldn't have been able to sing songs about everybody's hamburgers and French fries and ketchups and Betsy at the bar and the chicken pot pie across the country for 15 years, I wouldn't have been able to whip up a Grant Cardone jingle in 30 seconds when he got on his page and he was like, "Hey, if you're an artist out there, Mark Zuckerberg won't verify me. I need a rap song or a poster or sing me a song or something and I'll post it." And I
Yep.
mean, I had that sucker up in 3 minutes, bro.
Hmm.
Elena was messaging me back like, this is so good. And I was like, these have to be the people. This has to be the answer. And it was a small business owner, big business owner, but essentially in the category, it's like it's us against the big banks and stuff like that. People act like Cardone's the enemy. He's actually one of us.
Hmm.
He just happened to get big.
Yeah.
But like,
What?
dude, all these corporations and stuff, we have a shot now where we didn't 20 years ago.
Yeah. But you also have the grit. You said the two key things there. One, you have to have the willingness to go after and ask, even if you may get told no. In fact, you've gotten told no billions of times, I'm sure,
Yep.
but it led to your yes. You have
I
the
still
belief in
get told
yourself.
no all the time.
Well, yeah, that's going to be the nature. Me with sales, been doing it for years. I can show awards and all. I get told no every day. I
Every
hunt
day.
no's. Like literally, I want to get to no because after a while, it's like it doesn't matter. Okay, maybe Pat says no right now, but Tony says yes, or Tim, or whatever. It doesn't matter. All I'm doing is offering my services, helping people out, and seeing what works for them. And the internet, you know why I win so much? I outwork their ass. I literally outwork this. I got the
You work
greatest
hard on
compliment.
Facebook, or I wouldn't have even come on. I would not have
Yeah.
made time for it. I mean that. We're busy here.
No, I
We're
appreciate
doing
that.
all this stuff, and it's like I already do my own streams, and I think it's just so important because again, these conversations, the conversations in a digital platform or in the green room or at events or in the hallways, we can make those conversations now with Zoom,
Hmm.
and that's
Yeah.
really really cool.
Yeah. Well, and then you can even just get an AI platform. You don't even have to edit your videos as much anymore. Now, there are
Yeah,
people like
it's
you that can
helping
do it
so
way better,
much.
but you can get out there. I think we just tried to, and I want your thoughts on this. I think we try to make it too perfect. Not me and you, because you see me. I've
I
fucking done it
have
in a t-shirt.
absolutely,
I don't care. I
absolutely.
just go out and pop it. How do you help people get past that? Because they get caught up in their head of how important they are, and in reality, they just need to get their message out.
Well, I love the fact that we've been doing this so long that our company has this wild example of this woman named Carlotta Thompson, who I met 3.5 years ago. She was signing up for us almost 4 years ago. So this would have been like 2021. And we were first starting to really get dialed in on that same Bradley offer of one video a day. We'll
Hmm.
help you record it, we'll edit it, and we'll post it for you. And I met her at an event at Kyle Mallion's event. It was a business acquisitions event. And I remember him going up and presenting because, obviously I came in, I was the lunch break guy at this Cardone event. So if anyone's listening and wondering what happened at the 10X event, I was the lunch break guy. So I showed up at the Cardone event in 2018, left my wife and my newborn baby and took our only car and played the lunch break at this Cardone event because they were the only people that ever shared anything I ever did. He uploaded the video. It got like millions of views in 2017. And I started meeting all these business people. They started telling me how to format my offer and all of this and the other thing. And Carlotta, a few years later, signed up. And
Hmm.
so I filmed her at my buddy Kyle's event. She just spoke about tax strategy. And I filmed it and I chopped it all up and we started posting it. And she just started going bonkers viral on TikTok. And then she started going bonkers viral on Instagram and bonkers viral on Facebook and getting all these signups. And I was like, man. And then like we started selling more packages and our business started to grow. And the moral of the story is 11 years ago, I was sleeping in a van singing at farmers markets for 40 bucks. And now I'm in a 5,000 square foot house
Hmm.
that I utilized her tax strategy on to run my whole company and provide people a place to stay. We have 2 guest bedrooms up here on the second floor, the content hub of Dallas. And I have my own studio now where I can put people in a chair and magnify their strengths on audio and video. And again, like you said, that's not for everyone, but everyone can get their phone out and film. There's just no excuse anymore. I had no gear when I made that song for Cardone. And I encourage you guys to, if you type in Pat Hilton, Grant Cardone verification song, it's got like 347 views on my YouTube. This is a great lesson in marketing and sales that everyone needs to get because you might think and be like, dude, yeah, well, that's terrible. It's totally doesn't matter because the piece of content that I created was designed to close a certain type of performance deal with the person. If I can give them something of value, maybe they'll let me play it and perform it
Hmm.
live, and then I'll have the video of me at Mandalay Bay forever singing this
Right.
advertisement for this famous investor guy. And so I whipped it up, sent it to him, and it worked. And I got the video.
Yep.
And I have the proof forever. And so you have to think about how do I use my skill to give it to somebody, the correct person, so that they win? Because if he gets the result, I get the result anyway.
Hmm.
If the song about him gets famous, well, I'm the guy on singing it.
Yeah.
So we just turned that into a business model. So Carlotta signed up about 4 years ago and just yesterday reached 100,000 followers on Instagram. Now,
That's
some
cool.
people might listen to that statistic like you got 347 views on the video. Doesn't matter. When I made it for Cardone, it got 3 million views on his thing and closed a ton of deals
Hmm.
for me. It changed my whole career. On the Carlotta end, it took us almost 4 years to get her to 100,000 followers, but they're real. They're
Yep.
buying her stuff. They're engaged. We've been like reposting for months and she's getting more views than all
Hmm.
of us. We used the strategy I teach so well on her page that it grew a great organic audience over the course of 3 to 4 years.
No,
Whereas
I love
me,
that.
I jump around on topics all the time and I'm posting memes and
Yep.
cartoons and talking about Trump and tariffs. And then I'm a media guy and then I'm a video guy and then I'm an MC. And everybody's like, what does Pat do? So
Yeah.
I even make the mistake of like not niching down hard enough. And my clients, I make sure they don't do that.
Hmm.
But what
No,
a
that's
great
perfect.
example.
That's
It took
perfect.
like 5 years to get here to where we got a Carlotta to even sign up.
Hmm.
And then it took almost another 4 years to get an example of, wow, look at that success story on just even that one channel. And then there's TikTok and everywhere else. It's going to take you guys way longer than you think.
100%. 100%. I think too many times we get the idea we can do one video goes viral. Well, what if you don't have anything behind it to capture the attention? You get a bunch of attention and you piss it away. Whereas if you build it up over time and all, like here's the funny thing. You mentioned that. I've gotten more, and I have a small Facebook and Instagram, well, smaller Instagram page, but I've gotten more legitimate, real people. And I know people that go and buy the fake stuff. So always verify and
What a
look at their
waste of
stuff first.
cash. You
Yeah,
might as
it's
well buy a
stupid.
bottle of whiskey and dump it out on the side of the road if you're buying likes on
Yeah,
Instagram. Think about how fucked up that is for your brain. I don't even think that's good for you mentally to think
no.
that you need people to like you that much. You don't need them to like you.
Mm-mm.
In fact, if you think that you need someone to like you that much, message me or Joe and we'll
Yeah.
come like your stuff so that you
Yep.
don't waste your money on that.
Don't waste your money and learn that having a niche audience that's into what you're doing is way more because
Way
I've made
more.
tons of money. I get with my brand, and my brand is still small. I've only been doing this game for 3 years. I've been in sales forever, but 3 years with the podcast, but what I'm doing, and
You
I
got
get people
great
reaching out
sales
to me all the
stuff on
time.
Facebook. Great sales stuff on Facebook.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. Wait, it's what you said though. I started niching out. I go, what am I really good at? I'm good at connecting with CEOs, CTOs, CFOs. So I'm like, let me do this. I did that. Then I have a guy come out and go, "Hey, can you set up my sales team and do this for me? Hey, can you do this now?" And I'm not even advertising this stuff, but when you have the right brand, those opportunities come. But I've been working, like you said, I've been working my ass off. There's sometimes I'm doing 2, 3 videos a day, or I'm doing probably 5 to 6 things a day because I know building the brand of what I want to do, they don't see all your stuff. So I want you to talk on this because you're the master at it. People don't see all your stuff. We think, oh, I posted it once, they've seen it, and they have no idea you even do it.
Yeah, and I've considered a lot of these things that we've talked about. It's actually a good chat, which is why I'm talking to you about it differently than I would in like an interview, because
Mm-hmm.
I want to get your feedback on all this stuff too, because we really want to channel like the Pat Hilton personal brand. But now that Pat Hilton, the personal brand, isn't the only thing that we can sell, because we've got client results now, obviously.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It's years and years and years after I was the lunch break guy. And my life has changed. We've got the physical studio and this and that. You know, I'm not really a lifestyle guy. It's not really something I like to try and position. You get my X amount of square foot house and blah, blah, blah. I don't,
Mm-hmm.
I have those things. I like my car, but like, I don't really use it as part of my brand. And I don't think I need to.
No.
I think that it's good that I don't.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter. Like, I still have to make payments on all this stuff. Like, don't go out there thinking you're something that, I mean, I don't know how else to put it. Like, bro,
Yep.
we all got to pay. Okay. Tone it down. Don't get ahead of
You're
yourself
not
here.
renting. You're not renting a Lambo and just doing a video and making people
Right.
think that you have one.
Yeah, like you really have some responsibilities here. And I think
Yep.
that
Yep.
when you look at it, and I had a good conversation with a buddy of mine about this. In the music world where I come from, you just want that hit, right? You want that big hit. In
Mm-hmm.
business, you want sustainability.
Yeah.
You want a good foundation. You want a good reputation. You want something that's a quality product or service, regardless of how much AI changes podcasting or video or social media management. You're going to want a creative team in charge of that thing. You can check the box. The easier it gets for people to understand that they need to pay for that to be done. If it's AI that makes people realize they don't know all these tools and they don't want to learn it, no problem. We've been here for years doing this for people now. Let us handle it for you. We've never had a security issue. If there was a security issue, we handled it number one right away. We've never like lost an account to privacy or security settings. People don't even think about that stuff
Yeah.
because we do
Yeah.
it all inside. It's all managed within the United States. We don't outsource anyone that logs into people's accounts because we post for people because they won't post for themselves. A lot of people watching your show have content
Mm-hmm.
ready to go on their phone. Bro, they're not posting it.
I know. I know. It's like it's
It
insane to
hurts.
me. Well, dude, here's the good
It
thing for us
hurts.
though. People that have more
I
skill,
mean, I'm
more
guilty of it
insight.
too sometimes.
Well, I can be too, but people that have more skill, more insight than we do, maybe they have
Yeah.
more talent. We beat their ass because they don't post. I'm telling you, I've won multiple President Circles awards. I've seen people. I'm like, I wish I had a tenth of their talent, but they just don't do anything. They just sit there. And
Talent
I
doesn't
refuse
matter
to
at a
have,
certain
no,
point. Yeah.
yeah, I refuse to have graveyard regrets. I'll try and
Hmm.
fail all the time. I don't care. Like it's. I think that's the thing, and maybe you can help people with that too, because you've been in the thing. How do they get?
Oh,
How do you help
man.
them get past the fear of what people think? Because you know,
Yeah.
and I
Check
know
this
people
out.
really don't
I got a
care.
good example for you guys here. I got a good example for you guys. And it helps me look like a cool video guy and an actual media agency CEO. So all of my friends out there. So you can have wireless guitar packs for your acoustic, right? Like I never had one of those because I was always broke. They're so cool, right? But like that's not going to play the guitar for me or write the song for me. And I can have this awesome action cam, right? And I use it to record a lot of clips like what we're doing. I have one over there. I have two of them. And they're really, really neat for recording, but like that's not going to like make me talk or anything. It can make me look cool, but
Yep.
like this thing versus this thing, unless you're in a position that you are buying your time back by hiring someone to use this, do not buy
Mhm.
this.
Yep.
Do not buy the Sony FX3.
No.
Use your phone. Use your phone. and just do selfie mode videos and do auto captions. And if shit's spelled wrong, post it anyway. Because by the way, grammar police will see that it's spelled wrong and see that it's auto captions. Like, even it kind of triggers me sometimes too, because like we produce stuff for people by hand. So we would never miss anything like that. God help us. Our clients
Mhm.
would bitch too, and rightfully so. They pay a
Yeah.
lot of money.
Yep.
And so, dude, I feel like the cringe factor of it not being perfect in 2025 and the realness of it, it's like when Nirvana first came out and like Guns N' Roses wasn't cool anymore.
Hmm.
Guns N' Roses and Motley Crue had all the chicks and the long hair and the wristbands and the women and the cars and the money. And like Alice in Chains and Nirvana and Pearl Jam were like, dude, we're broke and we have plaid shirts and we're pissed about it, actually.
Yep.
And
Yep.
people were like, this is how I really feel. And then
Hmm.
that era, that culture shift happened. And it was like, all of a sudden, that music was like 80s boomer music instantly because the culture shifted. That's happening in online entrepreneurship with social media because social media people are promoting themselves like Smells Like Teen Spirit in the gymnasium with the freaking kids starting a mosh pit. That's exactly how American entrepreneurs are promoting their conferences and all this kind of stuff. It's edgy now. They're talking to you got all these crazy gurus. We could go down the rat hole of the good ones and the bad ones. But the moral of the story is the Bradleys and the Uncle G's and like the Dan Martells and a lot of the real estate guys, Carlos Reyes, Pace Morby, Tony Watley, who's not really necessarily a real estate guy, but his wife's a realtor. So he's guilty by association. But dude, real estate will always be a huge play. And I also think over the last few years, and this is, by the way, business minded, Pat, not artistic, emotional. I want to do videos and follow my dreams because I can only, I think, make so much money doing that.
Hmm. Yep.
But if I really wanted to make money out of all the people I've met, I'm going for like business acquisitions, cash flowing home services companies between $1 and $5 million in revenue, 30% profit margins, 10 years in taxes, system in place, operator in place, dude. That's the
Hmm.
freaking game. All these guys that I'm running into that are really cash flowing have assets like that are recession proof because everybody needs pest control no matter what the weather's like. No matter
Yeah.
what I don't want termites eating my studio. So I'm going to have to pay it, or can
Hmm.
I just own the company? So I think
Yeah.
that as we progress, we start to look at the things that we spend money on. Because when you have no money, you're not really looking at what you spend money on. When you have money, you're counting everything. You have to mark everything off. You have to count every single dollar, report every single dollar, every transaction from this, from that, the other thing. Meta sent me $17. Got to put it on the
Yep.
tax return. I mean, I report everything. My
Yep.
dad's an accountant. Like, here it
Hmm.
is. Here's what we did. But now we're getting to this point where I've been around enough business people to be like, dude, mergers and acquisitions is a whole new game that is almost like wholesaling 6 years ago when people first found out you could wholesale houses.
Hmm.
Now it's like the business acquisition space, the small guy can get into that
Well, you had to
because of
think about it. I didn't mean to interrupt you. So you had to think about it. There's a lot of boomers retiring with established businesses. I
right.
recommend this to people. You can go buy a brand in an area that's been there for 20, 30 years. So kids
Yep.
don't want it. You don't really have to change anything. You might change the prices as it goes along, but it's like success is boring. It's not always a sexy thing, but I'd like to actually have more money than, oh, I have a brand, I get nothing. That makes no sense to me. Like we think too crazily hard with this. Like, oh, I
Yep.
had to build everything. No.
Nope.
If there's an asset you can buy or someone that does really well,
That's my
invest in
next
this.
play. I'm calling it on the Joe Graham show. I've been hanging out with Kyle Malian for years. I've been hanging out with Carl Allen for years. I've introduced Cody Sanchez and met her husband and a lot of these great people that do buying companies that are cash flowing or businesses. But I like that $1 to $5 million revenue with
Mhm.
the split. You can fund these with other people's money. I think over the next 10 years, if I was living in a van 11 years ago, And I'm on the Joe Graham show right now. 11 years from now, I think I could own two, three, five HVAC companies or pest control
Hmm.
companies or something here in DFW, Austin, San Antonio, Houston. I could be the Texas home services guy. I could do all the advertising in house because I own this property. I could have all my parties. I could have conferences and speakers. Joe Graham comes, he speaks about sales. I called it on the Joe Graham show anyway. Dave Portnoy shows up. He's like, one bite. The guy called it. It was one bite. Everybody knew the rules. He called it. It happened, and it works out. I'm thinking now more like a business person than an artist.
Hmm.
Where 11 years ago, I just wanted a shot at the lunch break.
But you had to go through that. That's the thing that I think a lot of people miss. You have to go through what sometimes we think sucks. And a lot of times it does suck. Like when I started in sales, I sucked. I was horrible. I just
Right.
kept knocking. I kept asking. But then I got into this, and I'm going to go with you on this. My network made me level up because people above me, and
Mm.
when I say above me, they don't look at it that way, but people that have gotten farther along than me have always been willing to help me. It's the cheap seats that don't do anything. They always say, "Oh, be careful. Oh, be
Mm.
safe." And I'm like, fuck being careful and being safe. There's no fun in that, and there's no reward in it. I
And there's
so
no
so talk. Yeah,
progress.
no, but you want to, if you really want, if you're listening to this show, if you really want to build your life you love, if you really want to do things, you actually have to take the risk and do it. If you are the cheap seats and just want to watch and see what's going to happen, you'll see me and Pat expand and explore, and you'll still be in your Pinto doing whatever you're doing.
And I almost feel for those people. I used to feel for them back in the day, but I remember when I moved out to San Diego, and this is a great example, and this might sting some feelings. So I traveled around the country for like 10 years, sleeping on friends' floors and whatever. And then I moved in with my girlfriend, Megan, who's now my wife. And in St. Louis, and I was still traveling all over the country with this dude, Afro Man. I don't know if you've ever heard of Afro Man. Type in Pat Hilton and Afro Man. You'll be shocked at what you find on YouTube. We have a music video together. So we're doing all these tours and stuff. And I'm like, I'm never going to make it unless I pack up and move out to the most competitive markets because I'm going to be 30 years old soon. And either I'm going to get good enough to pull this thing off or I'm not. But I have to
Mhm.
try, or because I can't stay here in St. Louis anymore. I had already moved away once and done it, then came back, did it, kind of like expanded past it again. And then I left for good. And I'm like, I knew I was going to have to leave for good at some point, and I guess this is that point. So I packed up, I left. She moved into her mom and dad's house. I know parents out there are probably like, oh my gosh. Moved into her mom and dad's house. I lived in my van and played at open mic nights and farmers markets and stuff, slept at my buddy's house, and eventually got full time gigs. Proposed to her like 5 months later. She got her job transferred to San Diego. We moved into this tiny Pacific Beach apartment. And again, now we're here at this place, the content hub of Dallas, 5,000 square feet of creative juice. And I want to turn this house into like the home for people's content. They come here, there's a stage downstairs, there's a podcast room up here, there's VIP passes and speakers and stuff on all the screens and food and stuff like that, because I never had that.
Mhm.
If I would have had that, if there was some guy that didn't stand a chance, that became some online producer, and I could meet that guy and he was cool and he was legit and had a good foundation, I have to be the person that I didn't have back in the day.
Mhm. No,
Because
I
all
love
we
that.
had was the Pizza Hut and joints in the alley. That was our little place of freedom. And some of it probably wasn't very good decisions, but that was all we had. That was the
Mhm.
only place where like our creativity and our creative freedom could birth into something. Because everywhere else, people put limits on it
Mhm.
or
Well,
or
that's
tried to
why I'm an
clip our
entrepreneur.
wings.
Yeah, that's why I'm in sales, entrepreneurship, all that stuff, because I don't listen to people's limits anymore.
Mm,
Now, a long time ago, I did. A long time ago, as a people pleaser, stuck in that whole thing. And I finally got to the point one day, I'm like, fuck it. I'm just going to do what works for me. If people like me, great. If they don't like me, great. There's freedom in that. But understand, and I think it was Chris Wilcox. I never like to take credit for something I didn't say. You have that time frame where you're going from what I we used to call my loser friends that weren't going to do anything, change anything, to the people that are changing the world. And
mm,
most people quit in that spot. But I wanted to encourage you, find out different people. I have so many cool friends from around the world that are encouraging and like you said, can be there to encourage me now. And with the internet, you can do so much more 10 years ago, we didn't have the same thing we do now. And I think
So
people just
cool.
need to quit being scared and
It
actually to go after
saved
their.
everything for me, dude. Social media saved everything for me. I had no budget to record really dope ass demos. I had no money. I'm slumming around. I'm playing every single night of the week. You know, I was a real player, real freaking acoustic punk rock, you know,
Mhm,
living all over the country. I mean, I was doing everything you need to do to find the right people. But now that I look back, it's like, dude, that was just it was almost like practice for now because
mhm,
I should practice guitar probably more now and I will because I have some new music coming out, but I
mhm,
don't look at it the same as I used to because now I'm 42 years old. I'm healthy ish. I have a beautiful wife and kids, and there's so many people that I grew up watching and wanting to be like that
mhm.
didn't make it this far.
Yeah.
So it just depends on what you consider success.
Mhm.
Careful what you ask for. I
We
wasn't
want to
ready
pay
for
the price.
success when I was 23.
No, I'm with you.
Dude, I
I
would have
didn't
been
know I'd be
dead.
here. Yeah. At 23, I was just young, a kid, just I had just met my wife, who I got married at 24, and I didn't have a clue on life. Like that's the
Right.
power. You mentioned something there, and I want to honor your wife with this because she believed in you.
Oh,
Having the right
yeah.
person in your corner is huge. I've been married for 23 years. We've done two cross country moves to chase my dreams and to do
Mm,
things that are with what she wants to do. But if you don't have the right person, how do you talk? You know, when you get the right one, I talked her into leaving Michigan, which was a shithole anyway. No offense to Michigan, it's just where I lived.
dude,
I didn't like
it's okay. She
it.
made the right call supporting
She
you on
did.
that one. Michigan, God love them, but
Yeah.
that place sucks.
Yeah. Well, I moved to Dallas Fort Worth. I was there for 13 years, and then I got
Yeah.
recruited. I got recruited over to T-Mobile over here in Arizona. They offered me an insane amount of money. It's the only reason I made the move. But I mark my
Take
words,
it.
I will eventually be back to Dallas Fort Worth because that's what we still consider
I
home.
love it
But
here.
there's times that you have to go to a different place to build the brand, build the culture, do the stuff you need to do. So I commend you on that. But I do want to do this because I know you know a lot of people, and he's being modest. He does some of the biggest events in the world. He mentioned 10X. There's so many different people that you know, but you've also been in this industry long enough to know there's a lot of charlatans and fakes out there. So how do you
Dude,
help
it's always
people
been that way
navigate
too.
that? Yeah, but how do you help your people navigate that? Because there's always, and some of them are big names. Like I have no problem saying it. Some of them are big names, but they're really just snake oil.
Well, and you got to be careful, especially when you're in my position and you're like an outsider. It can be very easy for you to tarnish your
Mhm.
reputation because the best way to deal with snakes is to continue to be a part of the garden without them noticing.
Yep.
Right. So, like, if a snake is going through the garden and they see the freaking ceramic gnome from Home Depot, they don't fuck with that, do they?
No.
It's harmless. It's just the gnome. It's just the announcer guy. He doesn't know anything. I know more than I want to because I'm the announcer guy. The easiest way for you guys to lose in the back of the room, which is where everyone talks, I call it the streets because that's where I come from. Like everybody knew this dude on the corner was popping off. There's 30, 40, 50 people at the farmer's market on Tuesdays in Carlsbad. They're calling the cops and shutting this guy down. That's how I came up with the name, the Acoustic Force. The acoustic decibel rating cannot exceed X in Carlsbad, California, or it's too loud. So they would
Yep.
come and they'd shut me down at the farmer's market. A guy singing on the street in California. The Grateful Dead and Jerry Garcia were rolling over when they shut Pat Hilton down on the streets trying to make a dime next to the taco guys. God bless. I'm glad they gave me free food because I couldn't get tips that day. And the guy across the street, Paul Hennessy, owned Hennessy's in Carlsbad. And he was like,
Mhm.
dude, just come sing on our patio. So I grabbed my shit and I
Yep.
set it on his patio and I turn it around and face the street and I'm singing on the patio and it's blaring out into the street. And now they can't stop me because I'm in his organization and
Mhm.
everybody has already come like over and they're like buying shots and stuff. I mean, dude, I made like $300 that night. I was like,
Mhm.
oh, yes, because I just went for it.
Mhm.
Who cares, dude? Somebody's going to hear it. Like you're doing something. There's cameras out here. They're shutting you down. Like you're doing something. Come back next
But
week and do it
you
again.
have to be a disruptor. That's the thing I think people don't get. You have to disrupt because if you're just like everyone else, no one cares. If you have a different edge, a different way that you approach it, like I think so many times we care too much about what people think, and people don't even think about us
They don't.
99% of the time. And the
They
ones
don't.
that do just don't have a light.
There is a music producer. His name's Rick Rubin. You look up Rick Rubin. I would argue that, like, outside of Quincy Jones, who's probably the greatest music producer of all time, Dr. Dre, and then there's Rick Rubin for rock and roll. Everything from Beastie Boys to like everything. Um, Under the Bridge by Chili Peppers, like all those like groundbreaking, innovative tracks that came when we were growing up and everything. Worth 150 million bucks. There's this one clip of him that goes viral all the time. We should take it and clip it where he says like, dude, if you ever consider changing your art based on what you think somebody sitting in the stands is going to think, you can't do that. That is like the zero factor. No way. Not one note, not one word. Do you change what you really are putting down based on what's somebody going to think?
Yep.
You know what I mean? You want and I'm sure in his head also, I understand from a musical perspective, maybe tonality or delivery or whatever, you could sing it in a certain way that makes it more fun to perform, more catchy to sing. But at the same time, like you start changing who you really are and what you really are. I mean, you have automatically checked the box of full of shit. And when
Yep.
you see somebody go on stage and they're one thing one year, and then there's something else the next year, and then there's something else the next year, and they promote every single product under the sun that they can possibly get an affiliate link off of, whether it's a good product with a good CEO or not, or X, Y, or Z. You got to be careful what you put your name on the internet.
Yeah.
I run around and promote Grant Cardone all the time, and people are like, yeah, have you noticed that Cardone's got some other thing going on? I'm not worried about what Grant Cardone has going on in his business or in his life, because when he shook my hand when I was broke as fuck and
Hmm.
told me I could perform, him and Jared Glant and his wife and Sherry and all them made sure I got my 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And they made sure I got the videos. I judge people based off of how did this go? And I think a lot
Did
of
they
people
do it?
need to
Yep.
focus on this a whole lot more, making connections and shaking hands than worrying about what everybody else's thing is going on, or this person's OnlyFans, or this person's booty, or this person was wearing it all out the other night. Some of y'all need to get focused.
Yeah. Agreed. Everyone needs to get focused. I think
I
they're
mean,
too caught up.
unless that's your thing and you're
Well, I
focused.
mean,
I mean,
they
God
can
bless you. I'm
consume
not,
us. Yeah, they
I'm
can
not here to
consume
hate on
us.
your artistry.
I don't care on that. They can consume us all day long and get us paid. I'm great with that. But if they truly want to get to the point where they're going to make a difference, make the money they want, live the life they want, have the influence they want, you got to go all in. And I love
Yep.
what you said about being authentic. I am not like I'm a sales guy, but I'm not going to come across as a big hardcore closer type of person. I can do
No, it's
that,
not a
but I
good
don't do
persona.
that crap. No, I have to be 100% me, and mine is always helping people. I help you solve a problem, you pay me, we're both happy. That's how my mind works.
Well,
And I think,
even there's a guy named Hardcore Closer, and I've met Ryan Stewman. I've introduced him on stage. I actually think he's a really nice guy. I've never had a
mhm,
personal issue with the guy before. I've never even really worked with him, but his approach is just different than mine. It's no big
mhm.
deal.
Yeah, it's
Whatever.
how do
Like
you want to
it's
be
just
perceived? Yeah.
I think that it's very hard for people to digest aggressive sometimes. I think that sometimes they need to be built up to it. I understand that
Mhm.
delivery and it doesn't
Oh, yeah.
bother me. If this guy at the event's like, yeah, you drop 25 pounds and you get a little bit more jacked, you're going to be killing it, Pat. It's really not bad advice. And
Right.
I actually took the person's advice.
Mhm.
But you got to be careful because not everybody is at the point where they can digest that. And if you
Mhm.
break down the wrong person, especially in the hallway at an event, they spent thousands of dollars to show up in an event. Maybe they drove there with their last $100 and left their baby, like I had to do, had to leave their wife and baby to go all in. And you're
Mhm.
going to talk shit to that person in that moment when they're trying to grow at their lowest moment where they need somebody. I think that's terrible. You got to
Yeah,
be
you have
careful
to
with
read
that.
the room. You have to know who you're talking to and what they need. Now, don't get it wrong. Like I've done the cold call center things where you're pounding out 300 calls a day.
Oh, it's
I
brutal.
am that guy. When someone talks to me, I have no problem talking to me direct. But I
Right.
also read who I'm talking to. And okay, does this guy need love? Does this guy need a kick in the ass? What do they actually need? It's always reading the person. That's why I deal well with CEOs because it's quick, short, and happy. But I also know if I'm talking to an IT director or someone that's more they need information, I slow it down. It's just knowing who the fuck you're talking to and putting it in their language.
You
But yeah,
know,
and I
here's
wasn't referencing
you're gonna
Ryan.
like
Like
this.
he's all right
You're
too.
gonna like this. You're gonna like this. That was such good. This Joe's so good at sales. And again, I know I'm not kind of approaching this like a. I'm approaching this way more like us talking about how we can get better than a podcast episode.
Which
But
is fine. I love it this way. It's my
I
show.
like
We can
to
do whatever
pick
we
your
want. It's totally
brain.
great. Go ahead.
I want good shit. Hey, but would you say that it's difficult for people to position an offer? I think it was hard for me to figure out how to create a higher ticket offer with my skill set because when you're in the trenches or when you're developing a skill, you don't notice necessarily all the other skills that go around that skill. Like how good
Mhm.
I was running microphone systems and video systems and podcast systems and all these other things and setting up framing and all this kind of stuff. How do we show people how to position that offer and craft those bullet points of value for like a monthly recurring offer? Because I'm a big fan of we do this X package for you. We deliver every day. You can go and you can look, you can see that we post it every day. There's no arguments. It's a legit service. How do
Mhm.
we help people pull that out of themselves?
One, don't think with your own pocketbook. Your value you're bringing them is huge, and they don't see the world through where you're at that point. Especially if you're starting out, you may think $1,000 is a lot to them. That's not even gonna get them to look because they don't think there's enough value in it. You have to understand where they're at, who you're talking to, and let them decide. You know what I do? And a lot of times when I'm negotiating, what's your budget? What are you looking for? Because guess what? They'll tell me
Mm.
and they'll give me a range. So if they say 10 to 15,000, right? I like, cool, I can fit you in here. You know what? I can probably do this for you for 12,000 after I line everything out and I give them the value. Because if your value is 4 times better than the cost normally they buy, I try to do the 10x or 20x, just give them so much more value. But I think that comes to our insecurities. We think, oh, well, I wouldn't pay that for it. I had a guy when I was doing oil and gas sales invest $250,000 in 7 minutes with me
Mm.
at the day after Thanksgiving. His one requirement is like he was a doctor. He goes, "Hey, can you give me a call the day after Thanksgiving? It's the only time I can do it." And he goes, "You picked up the phone. I want, or you gave me the call and you said, I want 2.5 points, which is $250,000, which meant I made $25,000 because I got 10% of that deal in 7 minutes. I thought it was going to be like an hour long thing. And that one piece there is like, holy crap. I've never made a $250,000 investment, but this guy wanted to see if I would do X. And for him, it made sense. So
I
again,
love
don't
that.
ever think that way. And
And
then get better. Go ahead.
dude, and
Yes.
the other thing you can do is you can literally, and this was what I was going to say. You're going to kind of laugh at this, but sometimes people are ready to buy. Their business just isn't at a point where they can commit yet. And so
Mhm.
I call it, I give them the old 12-month close, the 12-month window where I just kind of like start, I know that they pretty much have the budget. They're just not willing to spend it yet. How can I show this person over the next 12 months, in multiple ways for free, how to at least get started, get some results on their own? Maybe they're posting 2 or 3 videos a week now. They've learned some auto caption software. I've given them some prompts. We've become friends, and maybe I see them at an event or whatever. And whenever I go for it, Pat, I got you, dude. And I'm like, hey, man, it's all good, baby. This is the only thing we do.
Mhm.
If you're like that and you get 17, 18, 19, 25, 50 of those people and you're helping people get results, you're eventually going to get calls from people. It's like
Mhm.
scientifically and mathematically impossible that people aren't going to close.
Yeah.
I think
Well, here,
sometimes people are so focused on, I've got to get paid for my time and for my expertise and for my resume. And it's like, no, you get paid for their results. That person's
mhm.
results is how you get paid.
Well, they get stuck. Everyone, we still, it's because you're doing it wrong. You're thinking about yourself. You're not thinking about how you can help them. Now, I have different things I do. I'll give people a free call. I'll do different things where I can help them to a point as long as I don't feel like they're just trying to take it and not invest. And then it
Right.
comes to a point where it's like, hey, Pat, I've helped you here. I helped you here. If you want to go any farther, now you're going to pay me because I've already set you up more than normal, but I've earned the right to ask. Most of the time, people don't earn the right to ask, or they just give too much away and then people take advantage of them. It's learning that balance of
Yep.
how much you can help. And here's the crazy thing. I end up getting so many referrals from people. I help someone else, they refer them, and I get calls in saying, hey, can you do this? Because now I built that brand. We talked about it before. You become the brand of sales. Like I had some girl reach out to me on LinkedIn recently. I'm like, I don't even know this person on another sales page saying who was the best salesman. I had a different buddy say Joe Graham, and she reached out
Wow.
multiple times. And
On
but that's because
LinkedIn,
of the
baby. Go,
power of branding.
Joe.
Yeah. I like well B2B, that's my jam. So like
Right.
I'm known in like certain worlds, but like outside of telecom, like I'm getting people reaching out to me from all different aspects now because I built the brand enough. They see the award, but now people are tagging you or tagging me, and I know people tag you. And I think it's
Yeah.
building that up.
Well, yeah, man. I mean, all of this stuff is related, and you go and you search and you can see how long somebody's done it. And by the way, again, everybody talks.
Hmm.
So, one person finds out this, that, or the other thing, and it's only a matter of time before someone unravels. There's no point in trying to make a 5 or 10 grand or 20 or 30 grand off some scummy deal. Like, dude,
Hmm.
if it's not the right thing, then it's not your money in the first place.
Yep,
And you're
walk
not going
away.
to feel
Yep.
good about growing on any of that anyway. There's no way to grow off bad deals. So you got to find something. It's going to be hard at first. I highly encourage anyone out there to just do what I did and evaluate your skill set, or have Joe do it. Sit down with Joe, book a 30-minute call. I don't know what that looks like from him. And have him analyze your skill set. Come on a call like this and have him look at what you do, how you communicate, what you say, what you're trying to sell on your own as an entrepreneur, and position you as an expert so that you can go out there and start getting some consulting gigs. I think digital consulting, I think I'm better at that than I give myself credit for,
Hmm.
because I am essentially like a digital consultant that fulfills with social media videos and social media management, daily for people. But without Pat, the video consultant, unfortunately, there's no more business. And that's
Yeah.
why I said that the HVAC thing with the employees and the operator in place, that's a real proven system. These are different things. So you guys being an entrepreneur like me, an owner operator, being an owner only, again, two different things. There's different levels to all of this, guys. A lot of the people that are acting like they're these big shot CEOs are really just like you and me watching. They're owner operators, which there's nothing wrong with working in your business and on your business while you're building it. Don't talk yourself out of it because, I know Dan Martell and he would probably tell you the same thing. Slowly replace yourself and buy back your time, but don't do anything stupid.
Hmm.
Gosh, you know what I mean? I've met him and his wife. They'd laugh and they'd be like, yeah, he's right. Like, don't psych yourself out watching Instagram success stories that haven't even been around that long. Listen to the people that have.
Hmm. Well, it comes down to verify, trust but verify. If people will show their true colors the longer they're in the game because they can't hide it forever. And in
Right.
reality, I love boring business. That's where
Dude, I
my
do too.
actual market thing is set. So I'm making a bunch of money. I want to be a private investor. That's
Mm-hmm.
my goal. And take that money and put it into more money and make more money. But I don't have to be the expert. This is the other thing. When you get in the right rooms, like you were talking about, you meet the people that are really good at like real estate or any of the other stuff. And if you can partner with them, guess what? You're good at your zone of genius. They're good at theirs. And as long as you have it written out so you don't get screwed, because you got to make sure you do your due diligence, you have your money work for you. That's the game. I think
Yeah.
you could, because what if you wanted to take a break and retire? What if you didn't
Right.
want to
I
do what
mean,
you're
and
doing right
again,
now?
I'm not at that. The difference between me and a lot of the people that you'll see bouncing on stage is I know that, I have a time limit for my physical. Right. It's not going to work like this forever. And so that's
Mhm.
why I said in 11 years, I want to be in a position to where we come back to this conversation. It was like, I've been listening to the back of the conference room. I'm not just the MC. Like I built a successful company now. I've got a long way to go, but social media management and video marketing is only increasing in popularity and
Mhm.
everyone's going to need a team. Brad was right. 10 almost it'll be 10 years at some point, and he will have been spot on with that was the way for me to go and get started because there was a window there. And then I'm going to have to adapt, take that, invest it back into taking my marketing skills and putting it into companies that now I'm a part owner of that I can scale to the limit. And then I'm like a private marketing agency for my own companies.
which is perfect. But you had that one encounter in that one right room with Brad Lee that he said that to you that you took and you didn't just go, oh,
Dude,
yeah,
I
you
ran
actually
with it.
listened. Yeah. What, but it's smart. Like that man has, do you understand? Because I followed Brad for a long time. He has helped more of the major speakers with their software and other stuff. I was
Uh-huh.
listening to him on a different show. He's like, yeah, I could have tried to compete with the Grants and the Jordan Eagles, but I had something I could just do for them. He's like,
Yep.
it's a lot easier. I just use their brand. This is the part people don't think. If you get guilty by association. Like I know people, and I have people reach out to me. I'm sure you do too. That you get guilty by association. Like, oh, Joe's at that level, Pat's at that level. That's why it's so important to who's your circle. That's why I hang out with people like you or Tony Watley. And there's other people like, nope, I'm not going to do something with you because I don't want my brand or my name tarnished.
Yeah, and it's interesting how fast it can all happen because it usually starts with someone starts winning, and they've never succeeded at a level that they're succeeding at. And so they take that one of two ways. They either take it and they go overboard and they try and duplicate it too fast and they make all these bad deals and don't fulfill or whatever, or they go the other route and they just kind of slowly, sustain that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that the people that can create sustainability, the ones that are tough to kill over the long run, are the ones that are going to be able to take those skills and apply them to anything and get paid a lot of money.
Mm-hmm. What it
Because
opens doors for you
skills
there.
are worth something now. Skills are worth something. Knowledge, information, we can look all that up on ChatGPT. But you still need real world skills to pull stuff off. Terminator's not going to come over here and run the podcast for you.
No, no. You have to execute each day.
C3PO's not coming to do it for us. It
No,
isn't going to
no.
happen. And that's not going to happen anytime soon. Humans are necessary, and the robot is only as good as the operator, just like the business is only as good as the operator. So don't be afraid to be a great operator if you expect to make money and run a group of operators. Well, you better know how to be one. Because I think in 3 or 4 years, 5 years from now, if I was the one of the part owners of a plumbing company in DFW, I think I would be a whole lot better at leading than I give myself credit for, because I've led a virtual team to produce videos for some extremely particular people when it comes to captions and edits and scripting and all of that, because it represents what comes out of their mouth. And
Mhm.
once you say something, you cannot take it back.
Right. 100%.
So we actually
But
have a
it's,
very difficult job.
yeah. But that's fine. We signed up for it. We all signed up for what we want to do. So I always tell people this. If you decide you want to do this, great. But don't tell me you're doing it for your family if you're never spending time with them, because here's the
Mm.
thing, you're doing it for you. Just own where you're at.
There's nothing wrong
That,
with that.
yeah. It's your life. My friend Matt Vincent said this. He goes, no one gets a choice but you on the life you want to live. They don't
Mm.
get a vote. Just own it. Whatever you want to do, own it. And I think people are so hungry for authenticity and the real and all
Yep.
compared to the fake that we've had for so long. That's why I think people like you and Tony and all stand out to me at least, because I'm like, Pat's just always Pat. And I love that about you
Right.
because I've interviewed even multimillionaires, and then they try to have this facade on my show. I'm like, dude, I'm not even going to produce this if you're not going to talk to me for real. Because
Well,
people
right.
want real. I can't do the fake. I hate fake people.
Well,
I
and
don't
the other
hate them. I
thing,
dislike fake.
you hate the behavior, and everybody does. And the fake people, they hate it too. And that's why they keep doing it, because they literally hate who they are so much that they have to fake like they're something. Then they hate themselves more for faking. I know all this stuff because it's
Mhm.
rock and roll. Like you have to be this thing. And then, like I said, then times change. And it's like, oh, I have to change too, right? And it's like, well, why
Mhm.
can't you just be what you were? Vanilla Ice was cool for a minute, and then everybody was making fun of it. Eminem was making fun of his hair.
Yep.
Like
Yep.
this is the cycle and the evolution of life. You're never going to be hot shit forever. You might be hot shit for a second, Or you might think you're hot shit for a second, but in reality, nobody is hot shit forever. Even Drake, who's been on top of the rap game and who's still selling more than probably anyone, got roasted at the freaking Super Bowl by another rap artist. And like people took sides, like high
Yeah.
school. Like it'll happen forever. It doesn't matter how old you get, there's cliques and stuff. Make sure you're in a clique of people that are good so that they don't have to talk shit.
Hmm. Yeah. No, no, I agree 100%.
If you're just around dope people that don't play games, then no one's really talking shit or negative. It's a wild way to approach things. I suggest everybody tries it.
Oh, yeah, and finding the right tribe for you, the right group, the right spin that each one of you is doing. Because I think so many times you can't be. This is the thing. I'm sure you agree on. You can't be neutral. You can't be in the middle. You can't
No,
be.
not
You
anymore.
have to have a set opinion and be willing to share it, because then you're going to draw the right people. But why would you want to draw people you didn't connect with anyway? It makes no sense.
This one's hard for people. When you've never been criticized, it's gonna be hard. But I suggest again that you talk to somebody like a Joe or a coach or something, and have them prepare you for how your offer is going to go. I always say start with the offer, and then become the person capable of delivering that offer to 25 people. Get so good that you can deliver that offer to 25 people a month. Because if you've got a $3,000 to $5,000 offer and you get 20 people a month, you're going to come back to this episode and be like, dude, that guy was right. I
Hmm.
hired like 6 or 7 VAs and it changed my whole life. This is exactly what I did. I remember Brad and I were talking later. Use me as the scapegoat. And I'm talking to him and I'm like, blah, blah, blah. I got like freaking 5 people now, bro. Like it's working. My wife quit her job. We're doing this, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, dude, but it's a lot. He's like, yeah, you need to hire a VA. And this was like
Yep.
years later. And I'm
Yep.
like, what the fuck is a VA? He's like,
Yeah.
a virtual assistant, dog. And by the way, that thing ain't a jacket. It's a sport coat. And you need a new one because you look like you're making Men's Warehouse great again. And I was like, oh, like I was asking him a bunch of questions. I've been calling him and asking him questions for years.
Yep.
And now it's super funny because now years later, I'll think of something in my head and I'll be like, oh, yeah, I should call. And I'm like, no, don't buy. You already know what he's going to say. You know what I mean? When you can get to a point where you borrow confidence from people, when you can
Yeah.
borrow someone's confidence, when someone has so much confidence in you that you can actually borrow it, do it. Because, dude, is somebody like a Bradley or this guy or that guy's got confidence in you and they're giving you tips and you're using those tips and it's making you hundreds of thousands of dollars, eventually you're going to get to a point where that little voice in your head, the little Brad voice, just goes off.
Hmm.
My wife this morning was like, oh my gosh, I got this new outfit. I've got this party. The church people are coming over on Sunday. Then we got Easter and blah, 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 blah. I need this and that. And the other thing, I'm not going to have the right accessories for my outfit. God help us, Joe. Lord help us. So, your boy Pat was on ordering
Hmm.
whatever he needed. It'll be here by Sunday. Why? Because if I don't invest in her and what
Hmm.
makes her happy and builds her tribe and her community and her people and makes sure her party's dope, how can she come back and invest in me?
Yeah. No, I love that. I love that. Well, and if I remember your story correctly, wasn't she one of the biggest influences to getting you off alcohol and stuff like that?
Oh yeah, dude. So shortly after I did that Cardone gig in 2018, I got a DUI in September because I couldn't get out of the bars. I was trying to pay the bills. I had a
Hmm.
couple people that had signed up, but they were like on and off. I hadn't really gone full throttle. And again, this is another one. I got pulled over, spent the night in jail. It was my second offense. It
Mm.
was my second offense. So they suspended my license for 5 years. Now, I chose to take the 5 year suspension because I chose to leave the state of California and have my entire thing transferred because they were going to put me through like 3 years of alcohol classes and all of this kind of stuff. And I was like, dude, this is going to really, this could potentially cripple your future. And so I went to this place. It's called Lasting Recovery. Went to this
Mhm.
place, Lasting Recovery, and I met this lady. What is her name? She's on my Facebook page. Let's go to Lasting Recovery in San Diego. And this lady, I'm telling you, she saved my life. She showed me brain scans of people that like smoked the amount of marijuana I was smoking. And I mean, their brains are deteriorated, melted. They've got Alzheimer's. And I mean, it's
Mhm.
bad.
Yeah.
Showed me people's esophagus and vocal folds and brain neurotransmitter tissues of alcohol use that was related to what I had been using. Even 20 years down the line, and the whole entire brain was deteriorated.
Mhm.
And she's like, I mean, this is essentially your future.
Yeah. Well,
And I was like,
it's so
whoa.
crazy how, and I haven't drank since the beginning of this year. Just made a decision to just I don't need it. Like it was
Dude,
just one of
I've
those I
never
don't
drank
need
a
it.
drink since I got pulled over that night.
Hmm.
Ever.
Yeah, yeah.
No
Well, I
way.
think it's the one drug that's everyone pushes that's legal. Oh, you don't drink, and I'm just like, no, I
It's
don't. I don't
so
care.
easy to get, isn't it?
Yeah,
What
but it
the
doesn't
fuck?
do
Why
as
is it
much
so
for
easy to
you
get? It doesn't do
because
shit
they
for you but
make
rot
money.
you.
I actually just had a girl on, and she was telling her whole story. She helps people get off of alcohol. Like, it's
Good
a
for
great story. And
her.
she goes, she's like, 20 minutes. I actually just dropped the reel today. She's like, you get 20 minutes of happy time or maybe relax, but then you have all these hours after that and the hangover and all the craziness and the people not liking you and
It's
you
so
saying stuff and you're
bad.
blacking out. And I'm just sitting here going, what it, and again, I will let people make the decisions they want, but even for me now, and this is I dude, I'm full disclosure, I haven't drank since I think Christmas of last year. So I've
It just
just
depends on the
recently made this
chemistry of the
decision.
person.
But I'm just like I feel so much better. I changed my
Yeah.
diet too. I'm like down 25 pounds. I feel a lot
That a
better. You see
boy.
me walking, and I just feel a lot more strong. So when you mentioned if you get fit and in shape, you get more focused. Yes, that's true. It's just
It's
building
true.
discipline, but you
It's
have to build
true.
a discipline that works for you. But yeah, I
You
just
do.
I want to almost get to the point where people are like, it doesn't really do anything for you.
You got to think about, and again, we run a company's page. They're called Nutrition Solutions, and I'm actually really proud of the fact that we work with them. We've worked with them for quite a few years now, so I feel confident promoting the fact that we do their stuff. Their CEO, his name is Chris Cavallini. If you compare meal prep company CEOs, this dude is by far in the best shape. He's completely jacked in fit mentally. I've worked with him for many years. I would say that since I started ordering their meals about 2.5 years ago to now, I ordered the meals before he even like really even knew who I was and started getting results. And then I met him at an event like a year later or something and introduced him. And I was like, I like had like nutrition solution stuff and I was being freaking me backstage. I like had gear and was being a
Mhm.
douchebag and shit. He's like, dude, you're funny, dude, blah, blah, blah. And then you realize like I do TikTok and all this and other stuff. He's like, dude, we're not even on TikTok. Like,
Mhm.
dude, how are you not on TikTok? Call your boy. I'm eating
Yeah.
this blackened chicken right now. What you put in, man, it's just like
Mhm.
music and audio. If I have a shitty microphone in your thing or a shitty camera, it doesn't matter what you do to the file once it's done recording, you cannot polish a turd.
Nope,
It's
you
the
can't.
number one thing they taught me in sound school. God bless my dad. He paid for this really expensive Conservatory of Recording Arts and Sciences. Everybody asked me why my dad kicked me out. Sent me to this fancy school. I worked in Vegas, built all these big time people sound systems, Tom Petty and Madonna and Elton John. And then I quit to be a rock star. And I moved home, and my dad was like, bro, get the fuck out of here and go figure it out. You just quit that job? And I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna
Mhm.
make it. I'm gonna build a studio out of your basement. And he's like, no, you're not. And I remember being so mad at first, but that's probably part of the reason why I actually got good.
Mhm.
Um, so God bless old Tom Hilton. He gave me that St. Louis, Missouri love. Like, dude, you're not pulling that shit here. No
Yeah.
way. You got to have people like that. Chris is like that. Chris is like, dude, listen, like last week's video, this edit is not as good as last week's video. And I'm like, what do
Mhm.
you mean? And he'll be like, just like the hook felt off and this felt, and I'll analyze it with him, and I'll be like, I can kind of see what he's saying. You've got to have clients like that.
Mhm.
If your clients just kiss your ass and tell you everything's perfect, you're never going to get any better.
Yeah.
And he's been one of those people that has really pushed us. And I think that having those people, what you're going to realize is that the clients that you meet along the way become your best friends
Hmm.
because they understand your pain
They do.
because they're entrepreneurs too. There's something
Yeah.
about that. It's kind of like the music culture, but a little bit different.
Hmm.
I think
Yeah.
that's how I kind of found my way. The entrepreneurs have that freaking underdog spirit, man. That it's me against the world. I want
Hmm.
people to hear me, feel me, see me, believe me. I want them to feel it.
Yeah.
Entrepreneurs have that attitude. The only other place I've ever seen that is in a club, a dump on a Friday night, somebody hacking on a guitar.
Hmm.
I've never seen it anywhere else. Entrepreneurs have that dog. Professional sports, okay,
Yeah. But that's a small, small minority type of population group. Like there's
right?
only so many people can do that. But the only other place I can mention is sales because I call it entrepreneur life because you
Sales
got to
too,
hunt to
yeah.
eat. But
Sales
but
too.
the but I mean it's fine. But here's the crazy thing, and I love what you said. There's four
How do we
things that
pull
I've
that
run
dog
into.
out of people, man?
Well, they have to first take, you can't. They have to have the dog. That's what you can't.
Mm.
You cannot train that. I can teach you processes, I can teach you systems, but anyone that's been successful has four things that seem to pop up. They may be ADHD or dyslexic. I don't know why that's a factor. It just seems to be maybe our brains think differently. They have a chip on their shoulder, like you said. They've had a huge trauma, and either they have a super high IQ or an EQ. Those four
Mm.
seem to play in. And the last thing, we don't believe we can fail. We don't care about failure. We don't hear failure. We're like, okay, cool.
No
I
fucking way.
learned,
Nothing's
grow,
ever
do it
enough
again.
either. Nothing's ever enough.
100%. Yeah.
This is not enough, dude.
No.
What I have right here is not enough until Joe Graham and Tony Watley and Brad and all these people are in my living room on my stage doing it, and it's free for people to watch.
Hmm.
Now I'm going to build the stage because there was never like a stage for me to get on or the underdogs to get on. I had to break my way in through the lunch break.
Hmm.
You know,
But you
I was
did.
like Luke Skywalker with the freaking proton torpedoes, bro.
But you did. You didn't give up. See that you're dropping keys that people need to understand. You
They don't
weren't
even
perfect
have
with
10X
everything.
anymore. 10X is over. They did a 10-year run
Yeah, yeah.
and now it's over. I always joke with people. I'm like, I played the second one. I paved the way for Donald Trump. I paved the way.
Nice. But you didn't give up. I think so many times people stop before they need. Like I'm 3 years into this game. If I look at my sales career, I'm 20 years in, I have multiple awards. Great. I've hit that mountain. Now I'm taking that knowledge and helping other people, but I'm only 3 years in. I'm expecting to be the best, but I know that there's a process and a time to develop it and become who I'm
Well,
supposed to
right.
be. But the best for me, I'm not
Exactly.
competing against anyone else. I'm competing against myself every day. And that in my mind works because guess what? There's no limits to what I can do if I'm setting the standard. Well, oh, great. I hit this. Let me ask you this because I'm sure you're this way. When you win, you say yay for like 3 seconds and you're like, are you on to the next thing? Are you like that
Yeah.
guy? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like I was in Fresno, California this past weekend. I had a 2-day event for these guys, Dean Rogers, Jason Pritchard, Stratton Brown, great real estate guys. They've got this movement Deal Champs out in California. It's real, it's authentic, it's dope. They've got all investors that are doing real deals. They come out, they speak, they do it once a year. And of course, like that morning, that Thursday morning, my flight's canceled on American.
I
So I got
saw.
to
I
get
saw.
another flight on Southwest. Like this is going to happen. It doesn't matter, folks, what house you live in or what van you sleep in or whatever. When you got to get to the gig, you got to get to the gig. I don't care if you got a Lambo or a Pinto or a freaking Rambo. You freaking get to the gig. So they cancel my fucking flight. I have to reschedule on Southwest Airlines, take Southwest to Las Vegas to Fresno, make it on time. We nail the thing. Fly out at like 3:30 in the morning to be back for the kids thing that I got to be at, and it's like back right to work on Monday morning. I had a stream with Zach Hoffman, and we do a weekly stream. That's part of his package with my company.
Hmm.
So like I
Yep.
have to be there. And so
Hmm.
you guys got to understand that there's going to be non-negotiables when you pray for a big business or a big house and it comes with big responsibilities and a big team and a big payroll and big decisions and a lot of people that are relying on you to play big every single day. Because I
Hmm.
can assure you that it's not just Joe on his end doing whatever he's doing. There's other people. There's bookkeepers and accountants and contractors and editors and this and that and the other thing and services that you have to pay for every single month. No one ever sees any of those fees. And they sure as hell don't see the time that is spent behind the computer when the lights are off and you're not on the stage and, the bills are due. That's the kind of stuff no one wants to talk about because it's not cute, you
Real
know?
business. It's the reality of it. We don't rise to the level of our success. We fall to our ability to do it when we don't feel like it. Like I win more because I do it when I'm tired. Like today, I was like, man, I'm tired, but I knew I was gonna come hang out with you. So I'm like, I gotta be on point. I flew in late last night, got in at like 8, got home at 9, had to see the family, do some stuff there. I had a 7 a.m. meeting. Then I had a client meeting at 8:30. Like this doesn't stop. The commitments you make, you just have to understand you made the commitments.
Yeah.
If you don't want to do it, you can choose and build a life that you want to do.
And then
I
some
mean,
people
it's
would
that
be like,
simple.
oh, all you did was build a job. And I'm like, dude, it's the best job in the world.
Yeah, I picked it. It's
It
what I want
doesn't
to do.
matter. It doesn't matter how much money. Again, you guys can start making the money, and then you've got the car you
Mhm.
played micro machines with as a kid, and then you've got the studio and the equipment. Like, dude, I got dope gear and shit now. It's awesome. I can like look professional. But the job for me with this gear is to help myself and my friends look professional so we can do more deals. It's not just here so I can be goofy with the guitar anymore. And that stuff's fun, but it doesn't convert for me. And that's why I think it's kind of funny that this was a joke between me and my buddy Kyle. It's like, dude, made so much money that the new album was a tax deduction because I had to contract all my friends to play all the electric guitars and the drums and the bass. My friends
Mhm.
from San Diego, they're the band on the record.
Yeah.
Well, you don't want to hear just me with the guitar. You got to. I need a little. I need them to cover me up, bro. Come on, let's be real
Mhm.
here. But hey, man, how cool is it that now I can release my music on my terms? I'm the record label, and I don't have to care. Like I don't have to be emotionally attached to it. I do it because I love doing it. When I first got into this game, it was never about money. It was about winning. And to win to a certain degree, well, then money becomes a factor.
Yeah.
But it isn't everything. It is only a tool that you exchange between people to grow. That's the only
Yeah.
thing it's good for because it deteriorates in value the second that you get it.
Mhm.
So the second that you get it, actually, you have to apply it to make sure that you can live. And for me, for a while, it was just a gas tank and then maybe something to eat and, a bag of something to smoke. And then that was it. I was good. And I liked it for a long time, but it got to a point where I was like, all right, well, I want a place.
Mhm.
I want a studio and I want my stuff to sound good. And I'm tired of being the street performer.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I did do those things. And then it went back to it's like, all right, well, you're going to have to be willing to be the street performer one more time if you really want to pull this off. And then you're 30 and everybody's like, dude, this dude's freaking nuts. Wasn't he doing this when he was 21, driving all over? Now he's moving all the way out there? It's like, yeah, dude. And then it works. So you cannot think about any of that. You just have to make it work. I knew it was going to work or I wouldn't have done it.
Yeah.
Why would
But you
someone
had the
pack up their stuff
confidence.
and move all the way out there if they didn't know it was going to work?
But that's another thing. That's another key. You have to have the confidence in yourself that's going to work. That you will bet on yourself, even when
Right.
the world stands against you. And it's hard at that point. But then you had Grant reach out. You targeted it. It hit. That was that opening to get you in. And a lot of people need to understand. It's just one more ask. It's just
Right.
one more call. It's just one more video. And maybe there's people right now doing it. Build it up now so you can reach out to Pat and have him actually do it even more professionally. When I started this podcast, this is how bad it was. I just want to start a podcast. I was
Yeah.
using a gamer headset
There
and
you
the
go.
computer mic for an HP. It was bad. I kept the videos up just to show the story.
Yeah. Why
Now I
not?
have a Logitech camera. I have the better setup. But it was like sometimes you just got to get past your damn self and go so that you can graduate to the level of bringing you in, Pat, or getting on the stage as you want, or doing the thing you want to do. Because too many times we dream about it, but we don't understand there's a bunch of work behind it we have to do.
I love it. I love it, man. And if you're out there and you're like, man, rich people are bad, you already lost. Here's the
Yep.
thing, man. The more you root for somebody else or you find things that other people are good at that you can apply to your own game and you're grateful for it, even if there's things about that person maybe you don't like, well, then don't do those things. But they still taught you something. You should be thankful they taught you something. Sometimes people teach us how not to be.
Yeah.
Like the
Yep.
whole thing with whatever selling programs and have no physical fulfillment. That's where I don't like that. That's where the coaching thing becomes weird to me. What are you actually giving me? If you hire Pat Hilton, there's some kind of I'm either showing up at the venue and kicking the crap out of the place, or I'm sending you videos of you and posting them on your page with a date on your TikTok so I can say we did the work.
Yep.
I don't sell anything else.
No, you have to have deliverables. Like
I
even when I'm
agree.
helping people do, like I'm doing
It's
a
got to be
beta.
there.
Yeah, I'm doing a beta, and this is what I've told people. And this is the way you can start one out. Here's a little free tip. Tell people you're doing a beta group. They're going to give you a little bit of grace with it because you're trying something out. I'm doing one on finding your ideal client. I sent the guy a list of deliverables and I sent him a homework assignment for the person who signed up to see if he would be engaged. He paid me, but I'm like, look, if you don't do the homework, I'm just going to give you your money back. And
Right.
they're like, what do you mean? You have to have the deliverables of what you're doing. The coaching business is a crapshoot half the time because a lot of people are trying to do what they think is what they should do or be famous by selling a course that they haven't even done. You just need
Mm,
to find the actual experts in what's going on. If I want to be an MC, I'm going to come to Pat. If I want really great video content, I'm going to come to Pat. I have a guy, I just promoted his books, and you'll see me promote people, but only if I know him. He's been on my show. His name's Isaac Mashman.
nice.
He's phenomenal at branding. I love his branding.
Yeah.
He's got that grit like you and I do. So I'll promote him. I've had people try to pay me to promote. I'm like, no, I don't know you. If I can't verify what you do,
Yeah,
I
you gotta
don't
be
need your
careful with
money.
that one. Yeah.
Wait,
Because
because you just don't want to.
then it
Yeah.
costs you more than you made.
Yeah. Well, because who knows what they did. And if they screw people, now you put your brand on there. So it's always, you always have to be careful to vet it. But if you
Yeah.
have the right people and watch, you're fine. Like
Well, dude,
you're
and
good
then
there.
it can even go so far as I met this guy a long time ago. He was like a accountant guy and became friends with me, hired me. I did a bunch of video stuff for him and X, Y, and Z. And then he started something to do hydrogen plants. And this dude took millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars from people and then didn't deliver on the hydrogen plants, then disappeared.
Mm,
And
yeah.
so then, like, after a while, we all started getting emails from like the FTC.
Hmm.
This is not good.
Yeah.
And so, you know me, I'm like, I'm not really gonna avoid anything. Let me snoop in there and see what's going on. And so I had invested some money into these hydrogen plants. The guy was one of my first clients. He was one of my best friends. Of course, I trusted him. I sent him a significant amount of cash, by the way. And I got on the phone with this guy and I was talking to this guy from the commission. And this stuff that you guys do out there, you guys think you're playing some kind of game. They had all my records. They
Hmm.
had all my tracking, and this was sent to this and that, and then you remember this, and I'm like, yeah, 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 yeah. And he told me that was a this and that was a this, and this I had the contract for, and blah blah blah, and that should all be represented. I can email it to you or whatever. And like, if you guys think that people don't have this stuff, or like it magically, like you do something and there's no record of it or something, like the Tesla thing, people are
Hmm.
scratching Teslas and there's window recorders or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. They're cameras. Yeah. Super
You don't
stupid.
be stupid out there because it's just that is not worth it. Was that
No.
wasn't worth it? I'm still good. I'm fine. I didn't do anything. I mean, the money's gone.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you think you can get it back? I guess they can't tell you that if you're in some kind of a phone call like that. But like, I don't have any problem saying this stuff because you guys already have all my numbers. And let me know whatever you need from me because I'm
Yeah.
not
And if,
here to cause problems.
well, but if you're an open book and you've done everything right, you don't have to worry
Right.
about it. And that's the key right there. Treat people well, do what you need to do, and make choices. And then sometimes you're going to, in this game, you will get burnt. I've been in this game 3 years. I've gotten burnt 2 or 3 times
Yeah, that
already.
one
I'm sure
sucked.
you've gotten burnt, but I've learned from it. And
That one
sometimes you can
stung.
tell people and tell people, but until you've been burnt, they just don't get it. So you just have
Yeah.
to sometimes earn those scraps. But I mean, it's fine. But let's do this, Pat. I know we've been going for a little while here. Where can people find you? Because I know people are
Yeah.
like, well,
So
you've been talking about it, but where can we find
Right.
Pat?
Yeah. So you can just go to pathilton.com. There's a form on the site, pathilton.com. Fill out the form. Shoot me a message on Facebook or Instagram. Make sure it's only the one with the blue check. It's Pat Hilton on each one, but there's a blue check mark one. Make sure it's that. And that's a good tip too. Like, don't ever look at a profile that's asking you for money that you think is representing someone that's a big deal on the internet, and there's no blue check. Don't. You probably shouldn't send money to that. Like that
Yeah.
should be an obvious flag at this point in 2025. That was what Grant Cardone wanted so badly in 2017 that he was willing to post somebody's stuff on his page. He wanted that blue check mark. That was how I got featured on his page. I sang him a song about how Instagram needs to verify his page. So you listen, social validity and social authenticity are the currency of the future. And so I encourage everybody to be very open about where you're at, where you're going. Like, we've done an incredible job of growing this agency. We've never done $1 million in a year, but we've definitely done well over $1 million in sales in our click funnel. And so I'm sure that Russell's going to send us our award for that whenever we fill it out and send it in. And it's like, we did it all the right way. And even stuff like that award, when he sends that, that means something to me.
Mhm.
Because that was the guy I met when I couldn't even afford $100 for a website a month. I
Yeah.
didn't have that kind of money. He was like, dude, I mean, this is perfect for what Brad told you to sell. Like all the pieces were right there. All the best guys before it even really went crazy. So I believe that all of us, we're the next generation of Tony Robbins. We're the next generation of Grant Cardone. We're the next generation. It's like it's our job to uphold the integrity and the standard of the industry because there's young kids getting into entrepreneurship that want to build brands and they want to make money. And they got to know that they can do it the right way and it will work. And it doesn't have to take them 25 years like it took us.
Right.
They can do it in 25 months.
Mhm. I have to share this because it's kind of funny. Not funny, but good. My son's 19. He's been an apprentice for electrics because he wants to be an electrician since he was 15. He
Right.
has his life planned out, which I'm like, my wife definitely helped with that, but
Wow.
I'm super stoked. He's like,
Yeah.
he'll be a master by 27. He'll have his journeyman, I think, by 22. He has more money saved in his accounts than most Americans do right now. And I'm just like super proud of the fact that I'm like, okay, we must have done something right there. But it was like he got the drive of me and the smarts of my wife in the sense
Mm-hmm.
that like I'm all in drive whatever, but like she's very meticulous and practical. Like he rewards himself after he got like the 15,000 one recently, and so he bought himself a Blackstone. But he wouldn't buy himself anything. He's already practicing delayed gratification. That's
Good for
another little
him.
key I just want to throw out to people because there's times you have to spend money to invest in business, but be smart with what you invest in that actually will make you money. And don't just go buy the fancy thing just because you can yet. I'm not saying don't get it, but make sure you're in the right spot for it.
Yeah, and I also think that there's a point where, and again, this is another Brad Leeism, where you have to be able to make the decision that you are capable of upholding the agreement to yourself. You want to go out there and you want to spend $100,000 on a Porsche sports car because it's over 6,000 pounds and it meets your tax requirement and you've done all the math and you have no car. Maybe your license was suspended for 5 years and you worked your ass off, shared a car with your wife for 10 years so that you could get to a point where you could buy the car and it matches your tax strategy. Buy the fucking car.
Yep.
Because the second that you pull the trigger on that, and it's one of the biggest things you've ever committed to, and it's the right
Yep.
play, it's going to change fundamentally how you make decisions. Because now you're not the Pinto driver anymore. You are in charge and you are responsible for this thing that you took out. And since it was 100% bonus depreciation, I got to depreciate the whole thing right there at the last minute in 2023. And or 2021, 2022. It was a 2021 model. It's 2022. I deducted the whole thing. And it was ballsy move, but that was what I needed to do. I needed a car for my business. I needed a car that represented where my company and where Pat Hilton was headed.
Yep.
And it was not a slow motion decision. We need to go fast, faster than we've ever gone, but safely. We got to be able
Yeah.
to hit some turns. It's going to get bumpy out there.
Mhm.
Who are you becoming and commit to that? This house was a big commitment. I'm like, man, it's a big commitment. I still I got the Porsche. Maybe this is too much for me. Maybe I'm thinking too lifestyle. This is not, yeah, I'm like praying about it. It's okay. Is this really right? Am I overthinking it? Am I getting selfish? Am I thinking that I'm some kind of, no, dude, you need space. You have clients.
Yep.
You have people with millions of followers that need your service. You need a podcast studio. You need to be broadcasting every day. You're not because you don't have the space. Buy the place.
Hmm.
Sometimes you got to talk yourself into it. Do all the metrics, do all the things. I can run a mortgage calculator like you wouldn't believe.
Hmm.
I wasn't going to just commit to this place.
Yeah.
No, dude, I had to know. But you also, there's no guarantee. You got to show up and fulfill the guarantee. That's your guarantee, your personal guarantee to yourself. And I think people need to take that seriously, especially
What?
men.
Hmm. I write it down. Like I literally write down and I change it all the time.
Write it
Not change,
down.
but I
Write
add it.
stuff down. Yeah,
Yep.
I have to have it. I want it set up. I want to be able to look right at it.
Hmm.
Like
I'll look at
I
it.
want
Want
to
to
play
say it.
like this
Yep.
guy. I want to play like this guy. I don't want some guy on my wall that can't blow me away. Stevie Ray Vaughan and Eric Clapton would blow Pat Hilton out of the water on guitar.
Hmm.
So well that I play acoustic guitar. I didn't even pick up electric guitar because they're so freaking good. I'm like, I'll just stick with acoustic. It fits my comedy brand.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that, dude. They're the best.
Yeah.
Acknowledge that, be a fan, respect it, and then be your own thing.
Hmm. And
Promote it.
believe in
Be a
yourself to do
fan
it.
of it.
Yeah. I did that with you, and you're like, no, I love it. Because I was like, you posted something, and I just hopped on one of your posts a while ago, and I'm like, and I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna do that. And you're like,
Do it.
I fucking love that you're doing that. And
You
I
have
think it's
to.
because people are so afraid of what other people think. And in reality, like you said, if you're going to make a difference, you have to get attention. And before I let you go, I need to talk to you about that because,
Yep.
like, I'm good in sales and stuff, but how do you capture attention the Pat Hilton way? Because
Yeah.
there's so many different people out there. You could do a bunch of videos, but you got to do the right video. You can't
Yeah.
just
So
do a
I
video.
like this question because we're about to get a lot more brutal with my personal brand like we were back in the day. And I'll be really honest, like when Trump lost the election in the 2020, right? 2020 election, he lost the
Yeah, yeah,
election. The whole internet like just started to change instantly. They started banning accounts. Everything freaking was community guidelines, even going into the election. I made some funny thing about Hunter Biden and they freaking shot that thing down quicker than my hand could pull the trigger out. Not fast. And I was like, whoa. For 4 straight years, we played it cool. We went corporate guru production, and it worked.
yeah.
I think
Mhm.
that corporate guru production can help your brand make a lot of money. But I think you also have to be a little dangerous. If you get
Yeah.
too predictable, no one wants to watch anymore.
Mhm.
Like I was talking about, like the 80s hair metal thing and the cheese dick 80s thing, and then like Led Zeppelin had come and gone. Like you get into the early 90s when we were buying records, and it
Yep.
was like, what? Okay, well, what's going to be the new thing this year?
Mhm.
And freaking Teen Spirit comes on and blasts everybody's head off. And then Under the Bridge comes out from Red Hot Chili Peppers, knocks everybody's face off. And all this great Pearl Jam comes on. That the new wave like comes in. In
Mhm.
my opinion, in 2025, podcasting and social media vertical video, it's the new wave of that culture shift now because it was so raw. It was so aggressive. It had all the overtones of like metal and punk and all the things that you liked about those earlier rock bands, but it was delivered in such a vicious way that you had never heard before. It was so aggressive. And I think that the space in 2025 is craving that real aggressive, that freaking raw power. And people are sick of being wimps on shows and not
Mhm.
saying what they want to say, or not saying that they have to go to church on Sunday or pray or whatever. This, we shouldn't feel weak for saying that stuff. And I don't need to sit here and thump on the book to act like I'm better than you or whatever. It's just how I surrender on my own time. It's not really part of my
Mhm.
brand or anything. It's okay to be those things and then come out and have one offer, one category, and one thing that you're the best at. Everybody knows
Yeah.
Emmitt Smith's the best running back ever. You need to get attention at one thing first. Cardone was the real estate investor motivator guy. I'm
Mhm.
buying commercial properties and I'm motivating. Hey, if you're out there, you need to be looking for deals, man. Come on.
Yep.
I'm like, I like this guy. I don't care about apartments at all, but I just like this dude.
Mhm.
What is it about this guy? I had no interest in real estate at all, and I was watching his stuff every day because he was charismatic and he had energy. He had
Yep.
captured my attention. The second he asked for a song, I was ready to deliver because he had already given me more money than what he could have paid for the song at 10, 20, 50, $100,000. He had already given me more value, in my opinion, than whatever the
Mhm.
song was worth. How do we do that for other people? That's how you get attention.
Yeah. No, I love that.
What does the other person need? Not what do I want?
And if he wouldn't have built his brand, you wouldn't have had that opportunity. It all ties together. That's the thing I think people need to understand. If you're authentically pushing what you do and you have an edge and a way to capture your audience so they're like, oh, wait a minute. Like I'll post stuff to make people be like, what do you mean? Just to get them to engage and then get them to actually think about why are you doing this? And then you just capture attention. I think too many times if you just keep sharing everyone else's stuff or play the safe thing, sure, you might get a little following and all, but you're not going to get what you want. You
Right.
have to be bold with what you do.
And I think that's why some of those alpha male entrepreneurs have stood out so well on the internet is
Mhm.
because they have that aggressive, cutthroat KO, Mike Tyson KO power, that freaking roundhouse, that loud, that heavy metal tone. I don't know how else
Yeah.
to describe it. It's got that,
Mhm.
that real gangster rap flavor. However you want to categorize it, it's hardcore, it's in your face, it's loud, it's aggressive, it's mouthy. And I think that in a coaching scenario, that can be detrimental. It's not necessarily a release for me sometimes
Mhm.
when a coach talks to me like that, as much as it is just sends me the other way. Whereas in a
Mhm.
musical forum, it's a nice release. You're lifting weights, you're doing whatever while you're utilizing that aggressive, you know what I
Yeah.
mean, sound. But when someone's coming at you with it and you're not
Mhm.
using it to propel, it's like, whoa, it
Yeah.
could make somebody go crazy. Coaches need to be careful with how they communicate. And I'm guilty of it too. I chew my guys' asses. They'll send
Mhm.
me a bad edit, and I'm like, dude, what the fuck is this, dude? You
Yeah.
don't know how to spell today? And they're like, oh, sorry, boss, blah, blah, blah. And I think about it. I'm like, yeah, I mean, they did 48 videos today, bro. So they've spelled that one thing wrong. Chill. I do it too.
Mhm. Yep. Yep.
They almost did
Hey,
50
yeah.
videos.
Yeah.
Of course
Well,
they
it's
spelled
the
one wrong.
nature. It's the nature of the beast. Like I'll listen to Goggins or someone like that for motivation, but I'm not going to go to a coach like Goggins that's going to tell me I'm a piece of
I
shit. I
can't
like
do it.
Goggins, don't they? But that I don't
Yeah,
do well with that. You tell me
bro,
that, I'm just
no.
going to find a way to beat you. Like that's just how my mentality is. I don't respond well to that, but I do
Yeah.
respond well to people that can see my greatness and help me, but also have the ability to speak straight to me when I need it done.
You got to be a trendsetter in your own way. And some people do it by running until their feet break. And that's totally cool with me. I'm down. Like I played guitar and was willing to sleep all over the country till I almost died. I get it. Like I got that freaking fight for it, die for it spirit too. So one way or the other, there's no right or wrong here. I think that's great motivation for some people. I think that era of
It's
internet
changed.
alpha entrepreneur was awesome for a minute. And I think that phase is moving on to like people just don't want to deal with the drama. That
Mhm.
crowd has gotten a little older. They're less damaged now. They're not being sold through that emotional pain point anymore. People change.
Mhm.
Cycles, culture, what people are consuming. Like, I just think in 2 or 3 years, that whole thing's not even going to be that cool anymore. Like, bodybuilding and being jack's been around forever.
Yep.
That'll always be cool. But the way that you communicate it, I think that people are wanting to add years to their life, get better sleep, you know, get it on with their spouse, and
Mhm.
be healthy and happy for their kids way more than they want to be jacked and ripped. Like that's like a 23
Yep.
year old thing.
Yeah.
And
Well,
yeah, I
and
want to be
here's
as
the
jacked and as ripped as possible, but I'm not so worried about what everybody thinks. I'm
yeah.
not like trying to get laid at the club.
No, I've been married 23 years. I want to be as healthy as I can and be as in shape
Right.
as I can, but I'm not at the stage where I want to put in all the hours to say be jacked. But their whole little persona of, oh, if you're not jacked, you're not going to be rich. Do you know how many fat people I know that can sell so much better
The
than the
dumbest thing
skinny
I've ever
ripped
heard.
dude? I was like, you can't say stupid stuff because people know. They're like, well,
You
what
could
about
sit
Billy Bob?
around and eat Big Macs and do business acquisition deals for the
Yep.
next 15 years and be fat as fuck and make a shitload of money.
Yeah.
I wouldn't recommend doing that. I would recommend that you take, guru fancy pants advice and take care of yourself. But I don't need to like sell you a $15,000 course to tell you that. You should just know that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
I'll work
it
on it with
sucks. Yeah.
you. You know?
Well, wait. I mean, if you really want me to, I'm like, look, it's not 15,000 for that. That's not enough value, like on that regard, because like that's just free common knowledge. If you need to pay someone 15,000
It's for
to
the
tell you to get rich,
accountability.
yeah, I get it. But I'm like, let me get you some more practical. Pat, we can
Right.
help you with that, but let me add some more stuff to you. Um, Before I let you go, we've talked about a bunch of stuff. Is there anything we haven't touched on that you wanted to bring up, whether it comes from video production, getting on stage, doing whatever it is to build a life you love living? What have we missed?
I think that, well, I mean, I'm 42 years old now. And so I think that I look back and, like I said earlier, I think that what I wanted at 20, when those years kind of came and they passed, and I got to where I was 35 or 36 and the Cardone thing happened, I'm glad that that era of record labels and playing Warp Tour for no money and all this kind of stuff passed me because it put me in a position to where I'm like an artifact from that era that never really got the peak yet. And I think that I have a lot of time to pull that off in multiple different categories. And with marketing, you can create way more revenue because all music is a brand. A band is a brand.
Hmm.
And whether you're an artist or you are a landscaping company or a pest control company or a coach or consultant like Joe or me or agency owner or whatever, you have got to get on camera and promote yourself. No one would have ever found out about your favorite band or your favorite song or your favorite artist if they didn't put it out there. And if you do a little research on your favorite artist or your favorite song, I always like to trigger people with the music. Look up your favorite song in the world and just see like who actually wrote it. Because sometimes you'll find that the songwriter for a song is different now, especially than back in the day where like the bands wrote all their own stuff. Now there's a whole lot of people who write songs
Yep.
and they get publishing rights, and it's not very much. So you got to learn how to market yourself in a way that you can create a career out of. So while there's a lot more access now and anybody could do it, that doesn't mean it's easy to do.
No, I love that. Pat, thank you for being on. I'm going to leave you guys with this. Take massive action, get the right people in your corner, and don't be afraid to ask because you never know when you're going to get the right yes. But if you never ask, it's always a no. Until next
Mm.
time, go be legendary, and we'll chat